in the news, sexual harassment, sexual assaults on women, and we will get into that hopefully more if we have time. But one of the bills that you are proposing this year involves the rape kit backlog. Can you tell us a little bit about that bill?
So in 2016, the legislature passed a law to require an inventory of all kits because we didn't know how many rape kits we had. And so it required all law enforcement agencies statewide to do an inventory and then do a report to the Attorney General. We discovered that, and we weren't really surprised to find out that there were over 1,000 untested rape kits that were sitting on the shelves in the hands of law enforcement. And this was particularly troubling because not only do each of these kits represent a victim, somebody who went through the process of having the kit collected, but also because these kits represent potential evidence that can solve unsolved crimes, exonerate the innocent, and eventually, ultimately, catch what we know to be serial rapists.
And this particular bill, House Bill 2131, can you put it into context with that 2016 report? Why this bill this year?
Sure, that's a great question. And so the progress that has been made on the kits that have been sitting on the shelves, the eligible kits that were eligible for testing have been submitted for testing. But the purpose of the bill this year is to make sure that we never have a backlog ever again. So it sets up mandatory time frames for law enforcement to collect kits, to submit them to testing, to upload DNA profiles into CODIS. It also establishes a framework for a tracking system so that victims know what happened to their kid and where it's at. Because one of the biggest problems was that so many victims said, I participated, I did the right things, I went to law enforcement, but I never heard anything after that. And their frustration is something that we need to make sure never happens again as well.
Okay. The other area that we're looking into are economic opportunities and equal opportunities for women. One bill that I believe the caucus is particularly interested in this year is the family leave bill, the paid family leave bill. Can you take us through that bill a
Correct.
little bit?
So paid family leave has been a priority for the caucus for some time now. And unfortunately, America, and Hawaii is not unique in this, but America in general has fallen behind when it comes to taking care of our families. And so this bill would establish a family leave program in the Department of Labor, and it would require employers and employees each to contribute to a fund that an employee could use in the case of if they have a newborn or taking care of a sick loved one. And I think that it really is important to make sure that we set up this kind of protection so that people don't have to choose between their jobs and their families.
Is this something that other countries have that we don't have? Other modern industrialized countries have paid leave and we don't?
Yes, absolutely. If you look at a lot of countries in Europe, they have sometimes up to a year of paid family leave. And we know that time, especially when you're having a young family, is so critical. And it's for mothers and for fathers. Mm-hmm. And so in Hawaii, at least, I think we need to take a look at this legislation so we can keep up with the rest of the world.
We've got about, actually a little bit over 2 minutes to talk, and I wanted to get to this if we could. The legislative package for women obviously is very important. This has been, I don't know how to explain it, I don't want to say the year of the woman, but this has been, last year was watershed year for women's issues. It started out with the march, the Women's March on Washington. Over the summer, we had the sexual harassment complaints against Harvey Weinstein, which resulted in the hashtag #MeToo movement. We've got the scandal with the U.S. Women's gymnastic team. You are a professional woman. You are a legislator. You have a family. I have an intern named Shari Nishijima, who's a sophomore at UH, and she wants to know, beyond the hashtag #MeToo, the hashtag #NotEverAgain, what can we do? Where do we go from here? Where do we go beyond the hashtag movement, in your opinion?
I think that's a really good question. I think that's something that a lot of people are asking themselves. Is this going to be the watershed? Is this going to be the moment that changes America and the lives of women everywhere? And I think the answer is it's up to us. And it's up to us to make sure that this isn't just a passing news story, that we turn it into something real. And I think for me as a legislator and as a mom, as a caregiver. That's exactly what the bills in the Women's Legislative Caucus package are all about, is turning these ideas and social movements into real change that can affect real people's lives.
So to Shari and to her friends, all the other sophomores and juniors and freshmen up at the University of Hawaii and everywhere else, do you have some suggestions for what they can do beyond hashtagging and marching?
Absolutely. I'd love to see them run for office. I'd love to see them get involved here in the legislature, whether it's interning or volunteering, submitting testimony, coming down for a hearing. I think it's so important for women to get involved in the political process. For example, we only have 22 women out of 76 legislators. Well, we know that women make up more than half of the voters in the state. So I think there's a lot that they can do.
Okay, well, all you women out there, you heard the rally and the call, so we expect you to all run for office in this coming election year. Thank you, Representative, for joining us, and thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Live at the Legislature is a live half-hour weekly news program that focuses on the issues, legislation, and topics of importance emerging from this year's legislative session. Each week, state senators and representatives provide a variety of perspectives on the issues from both sides of the aisle. Tune in to Live at the Legislature weekly to get exclusive updates on what's happening in Hawaii's legislature.
Do you know your legislators? Visit capital.hawaii.gov and enter your street name to find detailed information about your representatives and senators. From your district number to the committees and current bills your legislators have introduced, this is an easy way to stay up to date with what is happening in your community. If you're looking for detailed information concerning Hawaii State Senate and House hearings, please visit olelo.org/gov-archives. Videos are arranged by date, with the most recent at the top of the list.
Are you looking for an easy way to get involved in the legislative process? Stop by the Public Access Room located in Room 401 at the Hawaii State Capitol. Open Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. in session. The Public Access Room provides citizens of Hawaii's facilities, services, and equipment to enhance their ability to participate in the legislative process. The public is welcome to track and affect legislation pending before the Hawaii State Legislature.
Live at the Legislature is a live half-hour weekly news program that focuses on the issues, legislation, and topics of importance emerging from this year's legislative session. Each week, state senators and representatives provide a variety of perspectives on the issues from both sides of the aisle. Tune in to Live at the Legislature weekly to get exclusive updates on what's happening in Hawaii's legislature.
Do you know your legislators? Visit capital.hawaii.gov and enter your street name to find detailed information about your representatives and senators. From your district number to the committees and current bills your legislators have introduced, this is an easy way to stay up to date with what is happening in your community. If you're looking for detailed information concerning Hawaii State Senate and House hearings, please visit olelo.org/gov-archives. Videos are arranged by date, with the most recent at the top of the list.
Are you looking for an easy way to get involved in the legislative process? Stop by the Public Access Room located in Room 401 at the Hawaii State Capitol.
Aloha and welcome to Live at the Legislature. I'm Jill Kuramoto, and every week we sit down with our Hawaii State Senators to talk about the events and issues that are happening at the Senate. And this morning we have Senator Will Sparrow. He is the chair of the Senate Committee on Housing, and we also have our vice chair of the Senate Committee on Housing, Senator Breen Harimoto. Welcome to both of you. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Jill.
I think if you ask anyone in the public what some of their top concerns are for the state, I think how homelessness and housing are going to be at the top of that list. And I think we all agree that they're sort of interrelated.
Yes.
So as chair of the Housing Committee, how do you plan to address affordable housing this session?
Well, key to affordable rentals is to have government subsidies. And we need to invest tax dollars in infrastructure and planning and construction. That's what we're going to do at one of our TOD projects, Mayor Right Housing. But millions of dollars over the next 10 years, hundreds of millions, need to be invested by the government in order to build the affordable rentals, because it's only going to be the state government that's going to drive affordable rentals.
Exactly. So, well, let's talk about another issue about TOD. A recent report by the Hawaii Interagency Council for Transit-Oriented Development has identified more than 30 sites on Oahu that could be used for affordable housing along the rail transit line. So how do you plan to move the state forward addressing developing TOD projects?
Well, one of the exciting things is that TOD allows us to create these new vibrant communities around rail stations, and they will be mixed use, mixed income. And the good thing is that along the rail line, the state is one of the largest landowners. So we're trying to be sure that we don't miss this opportunity for affordable housing in those developments. And, you know, they have to be public-private partnerships because the state cannot bear the entire cost.
Right.
Well, much of the development may not be able to be completed in 5, maybe 10 years. So how do you plan to move these projects forward much quicker, much faster?
Well, we are in discussion with the county, and there are state agencies that are working on how can we streamline the process. For example, one area we're looking at is historical properties, those properties with buildings that are 50 years or older, and how we could deal with those. We're also looking at the approvals with the Department of Planning and Permitting, because that's an area where many of the developers say that there's duplication and some unnecessary delays, but it's a collaboration between the state and the counties. But we certainly, as I said earlier, need to put more funds into housing, and one way we're hoping to do is to raise the money through the conveyance tax. Currently, we get 38% from the conveyance tax, which is on real estate sales.